Hello there. What we're going to be doing in this video is just talking about the fundamentals of strumming. One of the things that people do incorrectly a lot is that they don't spend enough time working on actual physical strumming. And of course I know you know how to strum, but what I want to do today is I just want to focus on some things that you should think about when you're trying to strum. The first thing is understanding where the beat of the song is. So when you're strumming, for instance, and you find that beat, okay, you're going to put your downs there. So wherever you think that beat is, the easiest way to start off is just by putting your down strums where you're tapping your foot. Okay? We'll talk about how that changes in a little bit here, but that's the first thing, is just scratching to where your foot is tapping. Okay? The second thing, once you've established that, is starting to add up strums in between, and this is where it gets confusing for people. We're not really going to try and focus on doing patterns, like for instance down, 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 up, down, and that sort of thing. We're always going to try and focus on creating things organically. So for instance, when I'm playing a song, instead of trying to go there's two elements that I always want to think about, and the first one is creating a more organic sounding strum, and the second thing is the dynamic level, the contrast that I'm using when I'm trying to strum. So for instance, let's say I took that same example, changed it up a little bit. So instead of just strumming it with the strumming pattern, I started simply strumming it like this. See, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to utilize those two elements of changing up my strumming styles throughout, and I'm doing that really subconsciously. I'm not thinking about which ones I'm hitting and missing. The goal for you, and that's what this video is about, is to make sure that you're always thinking about the arm moving back and forth, and you're just feeling the motion of that arm. It always reminds me of playing like a maraca. When you play, it's just back and forth. You know, you don't ever want to start and stop and all this sort of thing, because you're losing that motion of the strumming itself. It's like running. One foot goes in front of the other. That's the easiest way, the smoothest way to be able to move from point A to point B. Strumming's the same way. So what we've got is we've got these down strums. Now we could start adding up strums in between. So I'm going to add all the up strums just to show you my example. So here's my downs. Here's the ups. Now at this point, one of two things is going to happen. Either I'm going to start thinking of things in my head, or I'm going to start feeling something and my arm's going to move there, or I'm not. And let's say I'm not. Nothing's happening. I'm not really thinking about anything. I'm not feeling anything. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to take and strum everybody like I was doing, but then you're slowly going to move your hand out away from the strings. You're going to keep strumming, and then you're just going to start moving back in, and then you're going to move out and move back in. So again, watch what I do. Here's my downs. Here's the ups, and here I go. See how I'm just moving away and then I'm coming back? Okay, so you're creating on this organic level. You're just moving out and you're coming back. You're moving out, you're coming back. You just keep doing that over and over and over. Okay, that's the first thing I want you to focus on. The second thing then is trying to get used to being able to strum dynamically. Now, dynamically to me means just, again, we're trying to contrast things. Okay, so if I'm strumming hard, I'm going to strum soft. If I'm strumming a lot, I'm going to strum a little bit. So, for instance, I might take that same scratching pattern that I was just doing. See, I'm coming in and coming out in different places. Okay, I'm contrasting that pattern. Now the second part is the strength at which I'm hitting the strings. I don't always want to hit hard on a down. I want to kind of varietize that. So if I was going, kind of back and forth like that over and over and over and over. Just trying to get used to being able to feel that. So when you're listening to a song, and let's say the song is traveling like this. See, so what we're trying to do is just create this sound with our strumming that sounds, again, for lack of a better term, organic. It's just sounding real nice. It's something that people are compelled to want to listen to. Strumming is something that people take for granted. This technique, of course, that I'm using is called scratching. So what you do is you throw in a CD or your iPhone or whatever it is, and you just start listening to music, and you start finding where that beat is, and you start trying to create a rhythm. Now, of course, the real goal for you is to be able to separate this rhythm from these chords. If you're ever having to think about these two things at the same time, usually what happens is you get some failure in there. And so the goal is always make sure that you're practicing your chords more than enough, practicing all the other fundamentals that I talk about in these videos, bouncing and visualization and all those sorts of things. And then the other part is making sure that you're practicing scratching to the song. So hopefully what happens is you just start simply putting these two things together and creating the rhythm that you want.